The northern bobwhite is a ground-dwelling bird native to Canada, the United States, Mexico, and Cuba, with introduced populations elsewhere in the Caribbean, Europe, and Asia. It is a member of a group of species known as New World quail. They were initially placed with the Old World quail in the pheasant family, but they're actually not closely related. The name bobwhite is an onomatopoeic derivation from its characteristic whistling call. The clear whistle Bob White or Bob Bob White is very recognizable. The syllables are slow and widely spaced, rising in pitch a full octave from beginning to end. Other calls include lisps, peeps, and rapidly whistling warning calls. Despite its secretive nature, the northern bobwhite is one of the most familiar quail in eastern North America because it's frequently the only quail in its range. Habitat degradation has contributed to the decline of the northern bobwhite population by up to 85% since the 1960s. This trend is range-wide and continuous. The northern bobwhite is a moderately sized quail and is the only small Galliformes native to eastern North America. Galliformes are ground-dwelling, non-migratory game birds, including quail, chickens, turkeys, peacocks, and more. The northern bobwhite can range from 9.4 to 11 inches long, with a 13 to 15-inch wingspan. In the northeastern United States, bobwhite quail weigh between 6 and 9 ounces. It has the typical chunky, rounded shape of a quail. The bill is short, curved, and brownish-black. This species is sexually dimorphic. Males have a white throat and brow stripe bordered by black. Their plumage is reddish-brown with gray mottling on the wings, white scalloped stripes on the flanks, and black scallops on the whitish underparts. The tail is gray. Females are a muted version of this color scheme. Distribution and habitat. The northern bobwhite can be found year-round in agricultural fields, grassland, open woodland areas, roadsides, and wood edges. Its range covers the eastern quadrant of the United States from the Great Lakes east to New York State and southern Massachusetts, and extending west to southern Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and the foothills of the Rocky Mountains in Colorado up to 7,000 feet, and all but westernmost Texas. It is absent from the southern tip of Florida, where the extinct Key West bobwhite subspecies once lived, and the highest elevations of the Appalachian Mountains, but occurs in eastern Mexico and in Cuba. Isolated populations have also been introduced into the states of Oregon and Washington. There is no self-sustaining population in Pennsylvania, where the bird is considered extirpated. It's also considered extirpated in the states of New Hampshire, Vermont, and Connecticut. Its distribution in New York is limited to Long Island and possibly upstate New York. The northern bobwhite is almost extirpated from Ontario, with the only self-sustaining population on Walpole Island. Like most game birds, the northern bobwhite is shy and elusive. When threatened, it will crouch and freeze, relying on camouflage to stay undetected, but will flush into low flight if closely disturbed. It is generally solitary or paired early in the year, but family groups are common in the late summer, and winter roosts may have 24 or more birds in a single covey. Breeding. Spring marks the beginning of covey breakup and the formation of pair bonds. By mid-April, nest building and egg laying is underway, with the average clutch being between 12 and 16 eggs. Egg laying is followed by incubation, beginning in May, and the peak of nest incubation occurring in June. Nesting continues to wax and wane through September, with a small proportion of nests incubated in early October. Bobwhites have a complex mating strategy that includes rapid multi-clutching, re-nesting, double and triple brood attempts, and male incubation. Bobwhite parents raise their chicks together, leading them and keeping them together and safe with various calls. During this time, the chicks learn to find food and avoid predators. Sometimes parent birds will steal or adopt another brood and raise them. A hen may re-nest up to 4 times until she has a successful nest. However, it is extremely rare for bobwhites to hatch more than 2 successful nests within one nesting season. During the breeding season, bobwhites need good nesting cover. These nests are often located at the edges of fields, trails, or roadsides. Nesting cover includes the base of bunch grass, dense grass, or woody shrubs. For instance, thorny brambles. After the chicks hatch, they need good brood rearing cover, which provides protection from direct sun and avian predators, yet has enough bare ground to allow the chicks to move around. This allows the chicks to eat and evade ground predators such as snakes. Annuals, grasses, legumes, and bunch grass provide a good combination of protective cover, invertebrate foraging grounds, and ease of movement for bobwhite chicks. In fall and winter, quail are found in highly organized social groups called coveys. This goes until mid to late March, when covey breakup begins, followed by the breeding season. Covey formation begins again in early October with covey membership and covey home range establishment, also known as the fall shuffle, lasting well into November. During the overwinter period, protective cover, which is both for the quail to hide in and helps keep them warm, is a requirement for survival. This is typically woody shrubs such as young oak scrub, briars and brambles, and plum thickets. Bonus would be something like rose or sumac, which may have winter berries available. You can create this environment in your yard. You can landscape beautifully and create a small parkland on your property. This doesn't just help the northern bobwhite quail, it also helps other species of birds. Bobwhite are an umbrella species. This means that the ideal habitat of a bobwhite quail is also ideal for many native songbirds, as well as turkeys, butterflies, rabbits, and more. Imagine if just a few of your neighbors decide to join your endeavor. You could turn your neighborhood into a sanctuary. Wildlife could be welcomed instead of being pushed out. A lot of the plants the bobwhites thrive on have scary names like tick trefoil or beggarweed, but the plants are beautiful and native. This makes these plants ideal for your yard. You can create a beautiful landscape that helps the environment and is a sanctuary for native wildlife. If you have a cat, please add a bell to their collar to warn the birds and bunnies. You should provide diverse cover. Plant or encourage native low-growing shrubs like plum, sumac, dogwood, and blackberry in dense patches. These provide essential overhead cover from predators and thermal protection in winter. Native shrubs are generally preferred because they're adapted to local conditions and can better support local wildlife. Place shrub thickets near other habitats, such as open grass, with a diverse mix of grass and forbs so that bobwhite can access a variety of resources. Include native warm-season grasses like blue stem or switchgrass to provide nesting cover. These grasses should be clumpy with space between them. A forb is a non-woody flowering plant like wildflowers or weeds. They provide critical food sources like seeds and insects as well as cover. They are a vital component in bobwhite habitat and provide multiple benefits throughout the year. Upright forbs such as sunflowers create a canopy that conceals young chicks from aerial predators while leaving bare ground underneath for them to move freely and hunt for insects. The insects that are attracted to wildflowers and other forbs are essential for the survival and growth of quail chicks. Mature forbs produce seeds that sustain quail throughout the colder months. So a varied forb mix increases plant and insect diversity, which in turn creates a more resilient ecosystem that benefits many other wildlife species. In order to manage your quail habitat, you should use a high-quality native seed mix. This mix will typically include a higher proportion of forbs than bunch grasses, which ensures diversity and structure. You should avoid broadcast herbicides. The unnecessary and widespread use of herbicides can eliminate beneficial forbs and reduce food sources for quail, not to mention poisoning them. Create a mosaic. Plant so that the forb-rich areas are interspersed with nesting grasses and thick, brushy escape cover for maximum benefit. This mosaic can also be in your neighborhood. Maintain open areas with bare ground for movement and foraging. You can create these by plowing or turning a small portion of your yard. Quail prefer to nest and hide near the edges or boundaries between different types of cover, so periodically cut back some of the woody vegetation to prevent the shrubs from growing into trees and losing their effectiveness as cover. Some recommended shrubs. Plums like American plum, sand plum, and Chickasaw plum are excellent choices that provide both food and dense escape cover. Blackberries, dewberries, and raspberries are all valuable for both fruit and their thicket-forming nature, which provides excellent cover. Dogwoods like gray or rough-leaf dogwood, as well as silky dogwood, offer good cover, can be planted in strategic locations, and have absolutely beautiful flowers in the springtime. Sumac. Varieties like fragrant, smooth, and winged sumac are highly beneficial for both food and shelter. You should, however, avoid poison sumac if transplanting wild plants. Other options include elderberry, chokecherry, false indigo, rose, and more. Check with your local extension office to learn about ideal native shrubs for your area. Legumes like clover, lespedeza, peas, and beans are ideal foods for quail. They are particularly important because their seeds are high in protein, which is vital for quail during the wintertime. Partridge pea is a top choice that attracts insects for chicks in the summer and provides nutritious seeds for adult quail later in the year. Seeds from beggarweeds and tick trefoils are a major winter food source and attract protein-rich insects for the chicks. Both native lespedezas and reseeding annuals like Kobe and Korean lespedezas offer important seeds. Clovers provide bobwhite quail with young leaves to eat early in the spring when food is scarce. They also attract insects and provide cover later on in the year. Trailing wild bean and other species provide seeds that are staple foods for quail. Illinois bundleflower is another legume that produces seeds and provides cover. Some notable forbs. Ragweeds are common annual forbs that are one of the most important food sources for quail. They provide high-energy seeds and excellent cover. It's also a seasonal allergen. Sunflowers provide seeds and stout vertical cover. Mountain mints are non-leguminous forbs that attract many insects, which are a primary food source for quail chicks. Crotons, which may be called doveweed or woolly croton, are excellent food producers for late summer and fall. Wild senna provides seed pods in late summer as well as cover for quail. Native bunch grasses like Indian grass, big and little blue stem, switchgrass, and broom sedge are ideal for bobwhite quail habitat. They provide ground-level nesting cover, while the open ground between clumps allows chicks to move easily. The dense bunches provide thermal refuge for nests, protecting them from temperature extremes. When paired with a mix of native forbs and shrubs, these grasses create a complete habitat with food cover and roosting sites. Examples of suitable native bunch grasses include Indian grass, which provides good nesting and roosting habitat, big blue stem, which is a key component of the tallgrass prairie that offers excellent nesting and escape cover. Little blue stem is a preferred species for nesting, with the clumps providing a basketball-sized diameter and height for concealment. Switchgrass is easy to establish and provides good escape and thermal cover. Broom sedge is a common native bunch grass that quail readily use. Quail also need access to water. Create a small pond area. Remember, it'll get dirty. A suitable dish that can be cleaned is a plus. Cleaning an installed shallow pond is difficult, so don't set yourself up to fail. Suitable containers include concrete mixing containers, restaurant bus containers, flat feed dishes, bird baths, or other suitable containers. The larger and deeper the container, the better the pond, but the more difficult it will be to maintain. Balance maintenance with beauty. Dig a depression, put your dish inside, put flat rocks around to disguise the man-madeness of the dish and to keep it from floating out of the depression. Plant cover around the water feature, bunch grass, shrubs, etc. Add gravel to the bottom and a big rock or two. If your pond is relatively easy to remove, it will be more useful since it can be cleaned and maintained easily. Remember, standing water attracts mosquitoes. Though your quail may love to eat the mosquitoes love to eat you. So being able to clean your water feature without using chemicals is important. Put up a feeder for the songbirds. The quail will eat whatever falls to the ground. These little birds will improve your yard. They eat parasitic insects like ticks, fleas, and mosquitoes. They provide natural fertilizer and aerate the ground by scratching. Watching them will lower your blood pressure, so you should add a bench as well. Maybe even a camera. Enjoy!